filming now.
Welcome back to our Stony Creek journey. We're doing the pile burn today. So this is a accumulation of lots of sticks and trees that we pulled out of when we were doing getting rid of the pond and bits and pieces.
Right.
So we're ready to burn today. Got the grandsons here. Frank, Ben, say hi.
Hi.
Hi. And George. We've notified the fire authority. We've let all the neighbours know. We're a little bit nervous because it could be big, but we'll see. We've got the hoses ready.
Yeah.
And we'll see how we go. But I've got some footage that Robert's taken over the last week of bits and pieces he's done on the farm.
Because Tania's been doing lots of work and hasn't been around to do any content.
Been a little bit off farm, so Robert's been head videographer. So we'll show you when the pile's getting really big and hopefully all will go smooth. The fire's starting, it's getting good. And we're all watching, mesmerised by the fire. Lucky it's not too windy day and it's not that warm. It's getting warm now and it's getting big. But we're in a good spot now because the wind is blowing it, not in the direction of the fence. The family's moving back because it's getting warm. And Millie is just watching. It's certainly going now. Those flames are massive. So we're just watering down the nice fence to make sure that it doesn't catch, and the trees that are along the side there, because it's pretty hot. Man, it is hot now. Having to do a bit of hosing down, the grass caught alight, so we just hosed that down and stopped that running away. It wouldn't get too far, get down to the dam, but still, safety first. So the boys are just hosing around, starting to die down, but man, it's hot. So the pile's burnt down now. We're just collecting some extra wood that's down the back near the dairy. That's old fences and gates, been there for a long time. So while we've got the pile burning, we'll finish that off. But yeah, we've had a little bit come out into the grass. You can see how grass fires start and how quickly it grew. Lucky we had the hoses. So, oh, I can hear George in the background. But yeah, good fire. Excellent to get rid of that massive pile. Happy, Dale?
Yep. Nice to get that pile gone.
Yep.
Welcome back to Stony Creek Farm. I've got this section down the back, which is, you can see it's compared to the paddock where they've just been in, is quite a tangle and mess. It's basically a swampland, and I've fenced it off around the whole perimeter of it to try not to erode it too much, but as you can see it's really long grass and kangaroos have been having a ball in there, so I thought, why not let my cattle in there? The sheep didn't want a bar of it because it's too wet, but the girls are loving it. They have made their way pretty much halfway down this area, and you can barely see them for how tall all the forbs are. This spring rain, enjoying getting into the kikuyu, and Symbol's over there, and Panda and Spells are on the other side of the willow, and they're just getting into the grasses that are popping up and trampling it down. And they're actually loving it. So I'll leave them in there for a few hours. It's well fenced around the perimeter, so I'm not overly scared of them getting out down into the creek area. But if they do, we'll just manage to deal with that when it happens, and if it happens. But they're loving it, so I'll leave them in there for a while. Hopefully they don't destroy any trees. I've got these, Bryony gave us around about 20, I think they're weeping myrtles, and I think I've only got around about 8 left that survived, because it is very wet down here, not so much where spring rain is now, but as soon as you get in a bit, it's just swamp. It does flow, but very slowly, so this is filtering the water coming off the hills out the back there and from its source. So, but no reason why the cows can't have a few days, or half a day, or a day, however long it takes I deem fit that they stay in there for. I'll put my gumboots on and go for a walk and see what they've done after lunch. It's only about 8 o'clock at the moment, but they love it. I thought I'd show you, this is the back paddock, and we've just finished strip grazing this. We're really dry now, and we're nearly at the 1st of June, and to strip graze this back paddock into, I think I did about 7 breaks in the end. They were all fairly large breaks, and they all had, at the start they were getting 5-6 days out of a break towards the end, because it lasted about 6-7 weeks. Probably, yeah, nearly 8 weeks. They've nearly had 2 months in this back paddock. Just moved along every 4 or 5 days. And as you can see, the cows are down the very bottom there, in amongst the creek. How do I make that bigger? I can't. But I just thought I'd show you how much gear I had deployed for the electric fence. The back of the side-by-side is chock-a-block full of pigtails, and I think I've got 8 reels there. I've got 9 in total, so there must be one still at the house. So, but that's it all packed up, ready to go into the next section, which is they're moving from here along the long paddock and back up to the front of the farm, and we'll see. It's pretty dry, so we'll probably have to move them a lot quicker and have bigger breaks. Otherwise I'll be moving them every half a day. So we'll see how it goes until we get some rain and some growth. A beautiful day here. It's going to be a top of about 21. Started off chilly, about 4 degrees. But as you can see, yeah, we're pretty dry until I get some water on the place. I'm coaxing the girls out of the back creek area, and they're just following me. Come on, beautiful. I do have some hay with me, so it makes it easier. They just come for feed. Can't be easier. Come on. Come on. Big fatties, you've had a good day in there. Come on, Symbol. Here's Panda. Hello, girl. Good girl. Get out of their road. They're fatties. But they've had a good day in there. I'll let them back in there tomorrow and just supervise them, and then bring them out. Day 2 on the creek. So the cows followed me all the way down from the front of the paddock, and their spring rain's always the first one. She's the guts. The other 3 are towing the line. Panda knows what's going on. They're coming down to come back into the creek area. Spells is growing up quite nicely. She's all of her fur. She's such a shaggy thing. You're a shagger, aren't you? Hey? And her mum, Panda. And Gutsy here, Symbol. She's the guts in the family. And they're happy. So I'll leave them in for the rest of the day, and they've done a good job of knocking it all down, all the long grass that was in there. That's good. Can grow a bit more. Some nice handy feed in there. You might have seen in previous videos while I've been down the back here, this big tin shed that's upside down that's been pushed off. There used to be a bore down here, and with the help of my brothers, we pulled out the pipe that went down into the bore, and the pipe is about 35 metres deep. The water level in the bore is around about 3.5 metres, and it goes to about 45 metres deep is the bottom. So I've got a guy coming out in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to install a solar mast down here and have a submersible pump, which is going to pump all the way back to the shed, which is nearly probably half a kilometre away, about that. And from there it'll fill up a tank, and I'll be able to use it. At least I'll be able to maybe water a few paddocks here and there, or some little crops that I put in. We're going to do some cropping to see if we can grow pig feed, because pellets are quite expensive and they go through a hell of a lot as they get older. So we'll see how the bore comes up. I'll update you as progress is made. So it's late in the afternoon, and I'm just finishing up for the day, and then I noticed the compost piles I'm getting behind on. I've actually added another bin. So now I've got 4 bins. I got room for more, but I needed to turn some and get another pile going. So Tan's filled up this back bin, and all of this needs to be turned into that one, and this is all finished and ready to go, which Tan sort of already taken half of that, and that's already on the garden. So I'll get this cleaned up and turned. Mission accomplished with the composting of it's Tan's pile that she's using. This pile here will be ready in about a month. This one about 2 months. I've just stuck the temperature probe in here, and it's sitting fairly low, just ambient temperature. So we'll see that rise over the next couple of days, and that should get up into the 140, 150 degrees Fahrenheit and cook away nicely. And this one's ready to go to rebuild again. So we're back in business with the composting, which this one will be ready for spring planting, and this one will be ready to help get that going eventually. So it's looking nice. And of course we've got lots of mulch, and I've got a couple of truckloads coming of mulch to compost down over time and add to everything else that we're doing. Here's a follow-up on the compost 24 hours later. You notice the temperature was around about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it's close to 160 degrees Fahrenheit in the centre. So it's doing what it's meant to do. It's cooking with gas. So that'd be cool. It just speeds down the process of breaking it all down. Nice one. It's a beautiful morning here on Stony Creek, and just a quick update. Here's the driveway. I've got most of the posts, the strainer posts banged in, and most of the time you only get to see the finished result, but I've been working on this old fence line for about, I don't know, 2 hours so far. So most of the time this is the unglamorous side, rolling up all the old wire, pulling down all the bits and pieces, cutting up wire, all the knots, and pulling out fence posts. And some of these suckers just took me, I don't know, a good couple of minutes to get one of these guys out, because it was so hard. And I'm only 65 kilos, and I used every bit of me jumping up and down on that bar to try and get it to budge. Once I get going, they're all right. But I've got to remove all of these posts and the gate all the way down to the next corner, where I'll just join into the one that goes down the bottom past the dam. So we'll update you with when it's finished run. It might take a few weeks because the animals I'm not expecting to bring the cows and sheep up here for another at least month and a half, so it gives me plenty of time to get this all in shape before they're back again. Have a good day. Here's a quick update of the front paddock. I still haven't got to those fences along the road there yet, but I know there's been no significant rain to fill the dams or put any water in the dams. But this is that fence line that I showed you earlier where I've been replacing, so this has come up really nice. I wouldn't say I'm as good a quality job as what Gary and Steve did, the guys that do fencing all the time, but they taught me a lot and I'm trying to do it, so it's coming up all right. And my knots at the ends, if they don't look, they'll be fine, but they're neat enough. And I've hung the gate, and there's, you probably won't be able to see that, but there's two big eagles flying around down over the home paddock. You're probably looking at the chickens that are they're all gone into the pig shelter, the big green water tank. But those eagles are just, I don't know if you can see it, just hovering around. We're getting back to the fence. So these are my knots and the cripples. So it's coming really good. So this end and the gate. And now I've got to redo the fence that goes down past the dam. There's both the strainer posts down either end. I've got a new strainer up this end, but the one down the other end is stuffed. So I have to unclip all this mesh that's on the fence, and it's got hundreds of those little wire clips on it, and then pull that down because it's pretty crooked, and start again. Good morning. I'm continuing pulling down old fences and putting up new ones. This is the old one I'm pulling down today along here, which is really untidy and messy and all bent out of shape. I've finished doing the fence up the hill yesterday, which has come up a treat. As you can see, it's a bit of a frosty morning, only about 0 degrees, so nice and cold. But it's going to take me a little while to pull down and clean up. This is what this fence here looked pretty much the same as the fence I'm pulling down today. Hopefully that strainer post stays where it's meant to be. We'll see what it looks like when I've finished. Good morning. This is the last bit of fencing that you'll see for a little while, although I've got around the pig pen they've got this, or they've had this chicken wire all around the pig pen, which looks ugly as. Big tall posts and a mesh fence with another 3 strands above, and then the chicken wire hanging off it. I'm going to pull all that down. That's going to take a fair while. Take that to the tip. I've taken 2 loads of old fencing kit to the tip, and I've rehung this gate, which now opens properly, and pulled down all the metal that was in this corner, and then renewed the fence line across the bottom of the dam. You can see the belties up on the hill there. So this is the last bit of fencing that I'm going to do for a while, and next time I get Steve back with his tractor and ram, I'm going to bang all the strainer posts in every 150, 200 metres along the boundary fence to the neighbours, all the way down to the, well, it's from the front gate all the way down to the cattle yards, which is about 1.5 kilometres. So that'll keep me out of mischief for a while. But I've enjoyed doing fencing. It's a new skill that I've learnt, and I'll be able to do much more of it around the place. It's not hard to do, it's just very time consuming, especially when you've got to pull down the old fence and get it up and cleaned up. So thanks for joining us this week. Mostly been a lot of my videos this week because Tan's been off farm for a lot, and I've been in charge of getting some content for the YouTube channel. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.